Good morning from Circuit World. Hold on, I have a text message here. You know I have to stop the whole world for a text message. You never know. Let me see what somebody has sent. Oh, it's the pharmacy telling me my medication has been refilled. I had to check that. I have an app from Ingalls. I get my, hey, I had to start the show with that. I got an app, and it automatically refills stuff for me. So there you go. I'm at Circuit World in Blue Ridge. This place is packed. It's sold out. I'm telling you, this place, you can't get another box in it. And I'm your host, BKP. Good morning. Now, it's a little overcast. It's going to be a little chilly this weekend, but it's going to be beautiful in Blue Ridge. So, Ask the Doc is coming up here, and we have Dr. Raymond Tidman and Dr. William Whaley, and we thank Georgia Cancer Research, North Georgia Cancer Research here, and affiliated with Northside Hospital. They're going to be here. Let me say this, okay? This is the best discussion, okay? I don't call it a report because we don't break too many things down. This, you have, if you've been watching for the last 8 weeks, you are tuned in to the best coronavirus, COVID-19 discussion in America. It's my opinion, and usually on things like this, I'm right. Oh, okay, well, I'm getting a little wound up. So General Flynn is, they're dropping the charges. We got to drop the charges, Department of Justice. And the President of the United States says, treason, Donald J. Trump. They are scum up at the FBI. You know, there was a time back on Chris Wallace, I played it the other day, right? And I played it the other day. And do you remember after the IG report, James Comey, former director, disgraced director of the FBI, went on all the media shows to answer and said the FBI did some sloppy work. And then he looked at Chris Wallace and he said, even my mother-in-law called. She's worried because she hears I'm going to jail. You may be going to jail, James. You may want to call back the mother-in-law and tell her to continue to be worried. Just saying. Shelley Luther, right? Small business hero of America. She's out. They sprung her yesterday after her time served in jail. Greg Abbott, the governor of Texas, signed an executive order making jail time retroactive to where she's not going to have any charges against her. She's not going to have any fines. She is out. You know, America's watched this lady look at a judge that basically said, if I let you go, what are you going to do? I'm going back to my salon. Really? That's contempt. Yes, I'm going back to my salon. I have people working for me that are going to lose their home, can't feed their kids. I'm going to my salon. Throw her in jail. I tell you what, it's an interesting time in this country. It's really interesting. We're debating going back to school, opening business up. Now, I tell you what I said, and it's not going to be popular with doctors across America, okay? If you own a small business, if somebody knocks on your doors and says, hey, I'm the government, you need to close, fine. This is what I want for my business. Buy it, here's the keys, I go home. Until that, my opinion, okay, because they could probably throw me in jail for this. My opinion is don't close your business. It's yours. So when the government says, because I'm going to tell you, small business owners are patriots. You are patriots. I know you out there. And you want to do the right thing for your country. And you will make the sacrifice in your small business for a period of time. So when the government knocked on the door and said, hey, we're the government, you have to close your small business you work for your whole entire life and you owe bills on and you have payroll and so on and so forth. Small business said, okay. The patriot came out, I'm going to do what I can for my country. And then they started thinking, wait a minute. Now, my opinion, I want to be clear. If you're a small business owner today, determine what you want for the business. Open your business wide up, do what you want. That's my opinion, okay? It's not going to be popular. And when they come to the door and tell you you can't do that, show them the paperwork and say, sign here, write me a check, and you will get the keys and I will leave. Until then, until you pay me for my small business, get out of my small business. It's just my opinion. I know, my opinion. I say it 12 times because maybe it's not popular. 8:05, we're going to take a break, and then it's time for Ask the Doc with Dr. William Whaley and Dr. Raymond Tidman. The best discussion on coronavirus, COVID-19, right after these commercials.
Hello, my name is Chad Watkins. I'm the manager at Larry's Body Shop. We are a family-owned and operated business and have been serving the North Georgia area since 1978. We are located at 1216 Progress Road in LOJ, Georgia. Our shop specializes in collision repair and we work with all major insurance companies. Larry's Body Shop is ICAR Gold, the highest role of training recognized by the collision repair industry. It is estimated that only 10% of collision shops meet these standards. Our shop consists of state-of-the-art equipment such as laser measurement system, down-drive spray booth, spot and MIG welding equipment. All of our paints are mixed on site so that we can guarantee your paint to match every time. I know that having an accident can be a stressful event. We take pride in making sure our customers are satisfied with the repair of their vehicles. Our waiting area is clean and comfortable with free Wi-Fi and refreshing beverages. So if you're in an accident, stop by and see us at Larry's Body Shop.
Do you feel like healthcare has become too impersonal?
3 times an hour, I'll get you in, I'll get you out.
At Lifetime Medical Center, you're more than a number. We get to know you, not just your medical issues. Dr. Alana Kent is board certified in family practice and offers same-day appointments. She and her staff treat conditions from minor to chronic issues. Lifetime Medical Center, convenient to Jasper and Blue Ridge.
This may sting a little.
Hi, I'm Rhonda the Mattress Lady, and this is my husband Gary, owners of Mattress Overstocked in LJ next to Walmart. And we want to earn your business. From the time you walk in our door to the time we deliver your new mattress to your door, you will see the difference. Our selection and prices are the best in North Georgia, and customer service is our top priority. So y'all come on in and let us help you find the right mattress at the right price. That's Mattress Overstocked in LJ next to Walmart.
North Georgia Diamond is your source for diamonds in North Georgia.
In 1981, Reed Nicholson began selling tires out of an old barn in Mineral Bluff. Little did he know that he had just laid the groundwork for the most trusted names in automotive services in the Blue Ridge area. In 1997, Nicholson Tire Center became what it is today, holding the same values of faith, family, and great customer service. 2 locations to serve you, and the Blue Ridge location is currently expanding to offer fast service and the largest U-Haul provider in Georgia. Nicholson Tire Center, Blue Ridge, and Mineral Bluff.
Hey folks, we're back. I'm your host, BKP. It is time for Ask the Doc with Dr. William Whaley here with Dr. Raymond Tidman. Again, what I call the best 40-minute discussion concerning coronavirus, COVID-19 in America. Now, we're separated here, and Destiny is running the show today. I put some graphs up, Destiny, that I want to run through quickly, and then we'll double back. Now, first of all, we want to thank...
Before I talk about the tie?
Go for the tie, sir.
I mean, I don't
how
know.
can I look at that tie and say I don't defer to the tie?
How can you open up Ask the Doc without two things? One, what's the tie for?
Okay.
What is it for? Flynn, the general.
Okay.
This is my General Flynn
That's
tie.
okay.
And you already talked about that. Second, we came on the air 10 seconds to 15 seconds late because he was continuing that rant about if you had you have your business, don't leave until they pay you for it. And I am confident that the feds out there could make a case for him against as conspiring a tyrancy revolution. Ray will come back later and talk about tyrants. But I am convinced that he has just put himself on record like Comey did in that bad interview where he said there was only 4 days into the presidency and I ran people in there.
Did I do all that?
I want to
So okay. And one
All
more,
right, okay.
All right, one more thing. We're going to be talking about particles later on. Destiny is wearing a mask. We have social distancing. She's wearing that mask because she's a very young, very attractive woman. She's protecting us. And you're going to learn about particles per sneeze, per breath, per cough, which the mask will prevent, and then particles per toilet flush. And the virus is in the stool, but I'm told by Dr. Marlowe, quit worrying about the toilet flush because the density is so low not to worry about it. So back to you now. And
Well, one thing about the tie, because it's interesting you brought that up, because I asked permission this morning if I could wear a white shirt and a nice tie with pajama bottoms, because I'm sure that's what's going on all these TV screens all over the country right now. But that was vetoed before it could get out.
Well, that's because we can see the pants on.
Okay, so wait a minute. Dr. Two, no, you just went somewhere that I can't leave alone. Because I was thinking this morning, because we have been doing our Friday show in studio and call in. So I'm thinking coming out the highway this morning, how many people are going to start going back to work, and this is serious in a way, and say, I got to go back to the house. I don't have pants. So, okay.
All right,
Great
cool.
opening, but I love it. Listen, we always encourage you, the viewers, to send us questions. In the past several weeks, it's been hard to address direct questions, but we do want to show that you're out there. Give me question one. I just want to show it, and through our discussion, the doctors will look at it. And this is the one that came in, Dr. Whaley. Obesity is a recognized risk factor for COVID reactions. How irritable bowel syndrome, and is it what is that big word? THALASSEMIA.
Thalassemia, beta thalassemia.
That's a rare one.
I don't.
Oh, that was a word he couldn't get. Yeah.
I am not too proud to say those that are not obese are not obesity with a BMI of 35 or less. I do not believe would be hazardous. Now, the reason we're bringing this up...
That's my answer that I gave on the line.
Right.
Okay.
Right. You did answer that. And that's the reason I wanted to bring that up. Did you put that question one on the screen when I was talking? All right, question two, you are on the screen at home. I am a 64-year-old male who has, and that is the same question you answered. Okay, that's the person that asked that question. And you answered that this week. That's on the screen. Now, what we want to let you know is Dr. Whaley, the reason we showed you these, that is a clear picture of the question. If you will send to info@fetchyournews.com, find us on social media, send the questions. We have not stopped answering them directly. We do send them to Dr. Whaley, and Dr. Whaley does send you an answer. So this morning, look at the Georgia data, okay, and then we're going to give them.
That's where I want to go.
Right. Let's look at that first. Number. You got that Georgia data. It's on the screen, doctors. There's been 225,937 total tests, 31,611 confirmed, 1,385 ICU admissions. Now, deaths as of this morning, 1,352 in Georgia. Then I want to show you, and we'll get to another map in just a minute. Let's look at the U.S. cases before we start. And what it is showing, you see that on the screen, U.S. cases, 1,219,066. Total deaths as of this morning reported, 73,297. Gentlemen, I want to show the North Georgia map and then take that down and let's get them in. This is a cropped map of North Georgia. You can go to the CDC's website and you can go to the daily update and click on it. And you can scroll right over any county in Georgia and get a live update on that. So what this is you see the red spots, the dark blue, the light blue, that's North Georgia. Let me go to that map as we're talking and give you quickly, leave that map up there just a second. And we're not leaving anybody out, but we're going to come up 515. We're sitting out here, we can see 515 go by. So let's go up 515. Pickens County has 31 confirmed cases this morning, 2 deaths. Gilmer, 89. It really jumps in Gilmer, no confirmed deaths. Fannin County, where we're broadcasting from, has 34 cases, 1 death, and we'll go with Union and Towns real quick because we got a lot of viewers in North Georgia here. 33, 1 death, and Towns County, 20 cases, 1 death. We'll talk a little bit more about that. Let me get to you, Dr. Whaley.
All right.
Where do you want to start with that?
Okay. I think this is the most, until we get over here to Ray talking about the particles, this is something that's very important to understand. These counties are different in size, one to the other. So when you talk about somebody having 100, let's go back. In Georgia, there 30,500 plus or minus cases, BKP said, and the attack rate in the state for our size population is 288 cases per 100,000 population. Keep that in mind. Georgia's death rate is at 1,300 plus or minus something, which is 13 per 100,000. The state of New York is 1,711 cases per 100,000. Back to Georgia again, 288 cases per 100,000. Their death rate is 135 per 100,000. Georgia's is 13. So Georgia's death rate per 100,000 is 10% that of New York. Now, some of the stuff we've been talking about later this week is we can now show that New York City was the hotspot for the whole United States by tracing certain parts of the virus. So let's go back to Georgia. What he was saying about Georgia as a whole, the attack rate for the states, 288 per 100,000, death rates 13 per 100,000, will hit 2 prominent counties. The city of Atlanta is basically Fulton County. Their attack rate is 319 per 100,000. Their death rate exactly 13 per 100,000. That's like Atlanta. That's Georgia's rate. Dougherty County, where my daughter used to teach, that's Albany, Georgia, their attack rate is 1,721 per 100,000. It's actually 10 more per 100,000 than New York State. Their death rate is 138 per 100,000. That's 3 more per 100,000 than New York State. So Dougherty has a worse epidemic for size population than New York State. New York State's on TV all the time. Now we'll drop back to Fannin because that's where we are. Our attack rate is 136 per 100,000. So it's about 2/3 of the Georgia rate. and our death rate is 4 per 100,000, about a third of the Georgia death rate. Gilmer has 298 cases per 100,000, and that's because of the chicken plants. And there are deaths for some reason or other. I don't know why. That's not that there are no deaths. You'll notice it's a straight line there for Gilmer County. I think they get admitted somewhere else. And Pickens' attack rate, which they have more deaths, but it's a bigger county, their 2 deaths represent 6 per 100,000, and their 31 cases is still in the same order of magnitude as Fannin at about 100 cases per 100,000. So what we did in North Georgia, cut the attack rate compared to Atlanta and compared to the state by at least a third to a half, and cut the death rate by more than a half. And I saw in the newspaper Wednesday a long letter to the editor by somebody who has a home here on the lake, $1 million home, lives in Cumming, Georgia, being offended by the rule that he couldn't go play golf and he was supposed to isolate himself. And I understand it's kind of like what you were saying about the guy closing his business. He was offended, but what somebody did, you can measure here as being worthwhile. Now I'll stop
Destiny,
there.
before we get over to Dr. Timmon, I did get a message that his volume's very low. So if you can take his mic up a little higher.
Lean forward, Dave. There you go, boy.
Hey, listen, I don't say anything because I believe if a man understands how to use a couch, you don't tell him not to.
No, he's a rocket, and he's a real rocket scientist too.
Understands.
I always say.
What say you, Dr. Timmon? Come into the conversation. Some of the information we've discussed this morning, where we're at.
I think there are two points I take out of Bill's numbers, and they're very important. Number one is you could almost take the New York situation or the Delaware County situation and treat them like their own country and say we need to treat that differently than we do other places. But once again, as Americans, we really value our freedom, and we're innovative and we're coming up with solutions, and we're not all the same. And so we need to keep looking at this from the lens that we should treat things differently. Okay. For instance, in our country, in the United States of America, Bill's using the classic statistical reporting of per 100,000. Every year, 724 people in this country die per 100,000. Okay, and we're talking about a blended all in. If you took all the deaths from coronavirus across the population of the United States, there are 19 deaths per 100,000. And if you took New York and treated it like its own country, say, okay, we'll count those people differently. They're half of our deaths, roughly. That means that coronavirus is killing 8 per 100,000 people in this country. That's not a big problem. It's not. The big problem is in the centers where you have the true problem going on. So that's why I keep bringing back to we need to rethink what we're doing. And I want to talk about in a minute about how people should think about their airspace.
Okay, now let's go into their airspace, because we are returning to gradually normal, the new normal. We have designed new office spaces. I was reading an article designing new office spaces. Companies now being able to let workers work from home, people work from home. So let's talk about some of the distancing, some of the things we're seeing in retail, some of the restaurants gradually opening, and our space. Let's go into that, Dr. Whaley.
I think I'm going to let Ray talk about the particles, because he's got the articles. The particles, hey, I like that. Particles, he got the articles. You'll remember that Dr. Marlowe always emphasized contact tracing. And in this material Dr. Tidman has reviewed, I just touched my face, I should be spanked, that Dr. Tidman has reviewed, there are case studies of restaurant with viral transmission and an office space with viral transmission. And in the office space, if you can just imagine that this big table here is the office space, and the center is the island that has all the elevators and stuff in it, and there's cubicles on this side and cubicles on this side, there was a case in the middle over here, and the airflow in that office comes out this way and goes that way, and all of the cases, of which there were a lot of number, are almost all downstream from the one infected guy, 2 or 3 over here, 1 or 2 over here, but a dozen down there. In the restaurant, exactly the same. They showed that the tables along the back wall where the air came, an infected person was in a table that was at one end, and the other people that got infected from that index case doing that's what they call contact tracing, were generally all downstream from that person. The people that were upstream didn't do it. The opposite side of the restaurant didn't have anybody that got infected. So if we're going to open the restaurants, and these are business people, and I think that if they're allowed to open them, there are ways to do it. Dr. Marlowe came up with a list of suggestions for the Blue Ridge restaurants, but as long as the distancing is correct, as long as the staff is wearing masks to protect the employees from the clients from the employees, and the tables are allowed to be only family groups, so that you're not, it used to be if you go in a restaurant and it's crowded and there's a table for 6, they'd put 2 at one end, 2 at the other. They can't do that. Then I think they can open up. And Ray can tell you about the particles and what will happen if we do.
Follow up on that, Dr. Tidman.
So the interesting thing about this article that we're talking about is the notion that there's a viral load that you have to consume, that you have to take. It's like a dose. And the confusing thing for the public is that we talk about a virus, and that virus can infect you, and we study it and look at it and all that kind of stuff. The real infection becomes apparent when there's a load of virus. You have to have thousands of these viruses hit your immune system for it to infect you. One virus is not going to infect you. And the folks that study this virology look at how much viral load is in that environment, is in that air, and what mitigates that viral load. So ultraviolet light, breezes, humidity, heat, all those things diminish and start taking that viral load down. So one of the things I want to try to help our audience pay attention to today is trying to understand or visualize the airspace that they are occupying, and whether they can mitigate or make sure that that airspace is not likely to have a viral load in it that's going to cause them a problem.
Go ahead, tell them how, Ray.
Keep going
right,
with it. That's great information. Yeah. So keep sharing that.
And so I'm trying to help folks divide themselves into 2 groups. Okay, are you in the at-risk group, or are you in the not at-risk group? If you're in the not at-risk group, truly this virus is like a flu. Now, nobody wants to get the flu, okay? But for the most part, you're going to survive it. Actually, you're going to survive it better than the flu. The general flu takes out babies, children, middle-aged adults. It kills uniformly across all ages. This virus kills older folks with medical problems. That's the at-risk group. Okay, so I want to talk about those 2 groups separately. Let's focus on the at-risk group, because that's what I've really been focused on through all these weeks. Over 65 with other medical problems, including significant diabetes. Okay, if you're carrying around a 60-pound child on your back, that's a lot of work on your immune system. So that kind of weight is an at-risk group.
Obesity.
Yep. Those folks need to really control their airspace. No one gets in their airspace unless they know they're not infected. That's the mindset to have. You don't come in my house, you don't get in my car with me, and if I'm going to go out into someone else's airspace in an unknown, I'm going to wear an N95 mask. I'm going to wear the mask that protects me from the virus. I'm not protecting other people. I don't want the virus getting in me. I'm going to go when the crowds are low. I'm going to go like to the big box store. If I go to the grocery store, I'll go first thing in the morning. The air's been filtered and run all night. Everything's dissipated. I'm going to get a grocery cart out in the parking lot that's been in the sun the day before and is all baked nice and clean. And I'm going to go in with that. That's the way I want the at-risk group thinking. Okay? Until we get a vaccine, they've got to be that careful. Now, the non-at-risk group, they need to be thinking, how do I go on with my life? And how do I protect those and be respectful of those who are at risk? Okay? So I wear a mask if I'm in public. I don't go to work if I'm sick. And I generally keep good spacing about me, and I'm respectful of not creating air spaces that are dead air where the virus can accumulate and build up. Okay? So when I'm in the grocery store, I don't need to be packed into a tight line. I don't need to be hovering around the meat counter where it's already a little bit cold and damp. I need to be out and moving about in generally healthy space, and I need to go on with my life, and I need to know I may get this virus, and if I'm a risk taker, I'm fine with it. If I'm not a risk taker, I need to stay home more often, but we're all individuals, and that's the way to look at it.
Let me follow up on that just a minute, because what you just said is you looked at it, you let the audience know the at-risk group and not at-risk group. So how the at-risk group should go about their daily life, and how when you talked about the not at-risk, they can get it, but they don't have the high risk, obesity, the other medical underlying conditions. But then when I'll say the not at risk, need to respect the at risk when we go out. We need to do things and not just throw caution to the wind, as they would say, based on we may go out and meet people in the at risk, and we need to respect that. Is that?
Yeah, we don't need all this tension and stress.
Right.
We don't need all this negative vibe going on all the time. If somebody's not wearing a mask, then that's their deal. Maybe they are like me and they get tested, or they're pretty damn
Right.
sure they don't have the virus. Okay. But if they are geared up and they're wearing a lot of heavy stuff, that you don't need to make a face at them because they're overly protective. Let them be.
Let them be.
All of us need to figure out our space and how we protect ourselves, and we need to be thinking about the big pictures. Because I think one of the things that's really special about America is that we're innovators, and people come up with the damnedest ideas and solutions, and you're like, wow, I not think of that. There are people going to think of these solutions. Bill was talking about restaurants. Restaurants need to get open. So they're going to take their windows out. Maybe they should take their windows out. They got to spread their tables out. Maybe they should have a lot of outdoor dining. I'm sure Dr. Maloff has a lot of good ideas for them. But this is a survival thing for them. And there's going to be some probably cool solutions come out. One of the things I heard about is setting up these super strong ultraviolet lights at doorways where you come into large public buildings that are just baking everything that comes in as far as ultraviolet light goes. I don't mean by heat. But, that they're really attacking that virus that may be just wandering in with folks.
If you're old enough, you can remember the ultraviolets in public restrooms that were over the seats. Now, that is the 1960s, and most of y'all weren't born back then, but we had a lot of ultraviolet lights in public spaces decades ago. And coming back to that, and that was when they were coming up with the polio vaccines and so forth, coming back to that is going to be a big profit center if you can figure out who to do it. So go ahead.
You know what I've noticed, and not to get sidetracked, our public restrooms are back to actually paper towels.
Yeah.
We went through this country of, you remember the old cloth that kept running through, that you kept white, and then we went through the blow dryers, that they're still there, but I noticed they're coming back to the paper towel, where you're the only individual that's touching it, so forth.
Well, Bill and I were in medicine in the 80s when the AIDS thing came out, and it really changed medical care, because you knew that there was a group of folks that carried this virus, but we didn't know exactly how transmissible it was, what you needed to do, and there was a humongous fear around getting AIDS, which still has no vaccine. I mean, we can treat it and stall it off and do lots of things with it, but there's no vaccine for AIDS. And I was in my early training. Bill was well established at that time, but there was a general fear in the healthcare profession about how am I, as a healthcare provider, not going to get this disease. So let me jump to one other thing about testing, because testing is all over the place, and we've had this fabulous rollout of all kinds of testing. I may get a little controversial here, but I'll bear the burden of it.
I can't believe it.
There's only three groups of people that need to be tested. Okay, the sick. That's obviously the case. We need to test them, figure out, do they have the disease? The healthcare provider, who's taking care of the sick, who's going to be moving from person to person, and we need to know that they don't become a vector in that environment. Plus, they're at risk. Second one. And the third one is like the second one. It's those people who are taking care of the at-risk folks. They need to be tested so that they're not taking the virus to the at-risk folks. This whole notion of just testing scores of people and anyone who wants to test and Colleges are going to have testing going on for students to be. There's no real epidemiological logic to that. The three people that need to be tested, that we need to get really serious and really disciplined about testing and make it abundantly available, is the healthcare providers, routinely, often, whenever they need it. Those people, obviously, who are sick, and the caregivers or the people moving out of the at-risk group population.
That's also people though that are bringing the groceries to the groceries to the old in their home, or the people that are cleaning in their home, the people that are
daughter taking care of mom, the cleaners,
and the family members. I told a patient yesterday that wants to go to New Jersey and see a bunch of grandkids. And they're a cancer patient, and it's a wedding, I think, and it's in a week. There's only going to be 14 people there. Should I go? And I said, I'll just tell you the truth. If those 14 people are all college age, and they all are, I think you should stay home. Now, probably would be okay, but probably isn't good enough. You know, if you're a cancer patient,
but if you could test those 14,
you could test the 14. Yeah, you could test the 14.
Let me ask a question, because we don't have a lot of time left. It's a great discussion, and let me just say this: I don't know how to put the question out there, because you're doctors. The next group are not doctors. I'm not a doctor. Okay, so I can only ask doctors this question and feel comfortable with the answer. We are getting so much information out there on the numbers, and there's some comments out there that some don't agree with the numbers that are being put up. There has been some doctors across the country that have done little videos and so forth that say if they fill out their report and a patient dies, if they add COVID, okay, the Medicare pays different.
Stop. Let me stop you there. Okay.
I want to put one more in.
All right, go ahead, because I've got.
And if you're put on a respirator while you're in the hospital, it triples. So I'm not making light. The only thing I know to do is ask doctors.
Okay, I think there's a lot of misunderstanding there. The way the Medicare system works is they have what's called a global payment that they give to a healthcare institution based on the diagnosis that you reach in the hospital. So an appendectomy, where it's going to be 4 hours and you're out of the hospital, is going to be $2,000, and a hip replacement is going to be $2,800, and so forth. A COVID virus diagnosis has a higher level of intensity at the hospital than somebody with the common cold. So if you came in sneezing with a common cold, you would be putting out 30,000 droplets at 200 miles an hour with a cold virus on it. If you come in there with a COVID, you're doing the same thing. So that COVID virus patient is going to end up costing the hospital more in how long he's in the hospital. And so the diagnosis, rather than being cough or pneumonia, if it's cough or pneumonia due to COVID virus, it is a higher level of intensity that the hospital is going to have to give, so that global payment is higher. Now, it's not whether, but they're going to have a higher proportion that go on respirators. If you go to the respirator issue, there is a separate code for intensive care. And so once you've gone in the hospital, most people don't end up on a ventilator and do not end up in intensive care. The Prime Minister of England, for example, did not end up on a respirator, ended up on air. And if you get to the respirator parts, you have created a huge, gigantic amount of additional cost. And going on the respirator, there's criteria to get on the respirator. So we couldn't go in there like this and be put on a respirator so the hospital can get a bunch of money. So you can't get on the respirator until your oxygen level falls so low you can't keep it up with a mask. So it's not that they're gaming the system. It's that accuracy in diagnosis creates the payment that makes the hospital not lose so much. They're going to lose it anyway.
Yeah, Bill, I think, and that's a good point. And I think
you understand why I want to ask.
I understand, and I want to go to your what's underlying your question. I think Bill's point is that they have to diagnose these things correctly, and they're going to get audited, and so they're not going to be messing around here. Now the other piece is death certificates. Okay, so I think people in the hospital are going to be diagnosed properly, and they're going to be billed for properly, and that stuff is they've got that down. Because trust me, they don't want to lose an audit. Okay? But the whole other side of it is death certificates. Everybody in the country, everything in the news, as Bill pointed out last week, is all about the COVID virus. Okay, so if somebody comes in with a heart attack and they're positive for the virus, number one on the death certificate is going to be COVID virus, not MI. If they've got lung cancer and they've got COVID virus, the number one thing on the death certificate is going to be COVID right now. It's going to be COVID virus. Now, if they had lung cancer and the flu, number one on the diagnosis is going to be lung cancer, because we don't think of flu as that novel of a thing.
Right.
So there is this skewing of data. It's almost an unconscious thing, but people need to realize when they see these numbers that there is this intensity about this virus that's going to overcount it in a general sense, and that will change just in how we do things.
Well, I can't say how much.
Is that a fair statement, Bill?
Yeah, great. I agree.
Well, I can't tell you how much I appreciate, you gentlemen answering that question and letting me ask the question, because, like I said, we're hearing so much stuff out there. I'd prefer not to. These are great guys behind us. We have a good time on the political panel next. Mm-hmm. But we're not doctors, and we want to get that answered. Let me say this in the effort of time. I know both of you want to make sure we cover some subjects. We do have a little time left. So, Dr. Whaley, what did we want to cover? What did you want to cover this morning to make sure that we don't get out of this segment without our viewers hearing it?
Well, quite interestingly, I always have a list of what's in the news, medical news, and last week of the top 30 items, all 30 were COVID related. This week, of the top 30 items, 18 are COVID related. And then they're back to talking about other things that are not COVID related, which I thought was entirely interesting. None of them, wasn't vaping and it wasn't Zika virus, but it is interesting that people are beginning to open up their minds to something other than the COVID virus. And you asked that question, but you answered the question last week when you were talking about people you knew or family members who died, who had the virus, but their cause of death was not that. And what Ray's trying to emphasize is that there was a statement a couple of days ago that the CDC had cut the number of deaths by half that were done on death certificates, because those death certificates listed the COVID virus as the cause of death when they really only had the COVID virus. The truth of the matter is, death certificates are the last thing anybody worries about. Yeah. If you die today and you die in a hospital, your death certificate is going to get filled out this afternoon. But if you die, assuming that you got a hospitalist, but if you die in a nursing home or you die at home and it's not a coroner's case, that thing filters around through 20 places. It might run up on my desk in 2 weeks. And then it's got a bunch of other stuff I got to fill out. So when I finally get around to filling out that death certificate, which you've got to have to get your life insurance payment and everything, I fill it out as accurately as I can. But it's weeks after the death. So death certificate data we should ignore. You're going to come back and look at it when this is all over with. How many people got admitted to the hospital? How many went on the ICU? In the ICU, those kind of data, as he says, the hospitals are tight as a tick. They can't wiggle without somebody from the Fed going in there and scoping them. So I don't think anything's going on in the hospital of a hanky-panky sort of way, to be honest with you. And in the death certificate issue, there's nobody that pays me to fill out the death certificate. So regardless of how I fill it out, there's a block. Is this related to pregnancy? Even if you're a man, you got to say not applicable. And does this death have anything to do with tobacco? That's on 100%. And does this death have anything to do with an accident or a crime? So once you fill that thing out and you've said no, no, and no, you've got to come up with a cause of death. And they died at home. I just did one for an ex-employee of the two of us who had a advanced head and neck cancer, but multiple other coronary and other sorts of problems, and coming up with which one
which
was
order,
it?
yeah.
Which one was it? One's going to be at the top, and it's going to be a statistic. So I'm not thrilled about the death certificate data ever.
Yeah, that's a very important point. When you see reports and studies on death certificate reporting, it's
Yeah, if it's
fuzzy,
gunshot
very
wounds,
fuzzy.
motor vehicle
Yeah,
accidents, overdoses of drugs,
Yeah.
you can take it to the bank.
You want to know when, I always, I'm cautious to say biggest, but one of the biggest concerns I have coming out of this, and we did it last week, I want to do it again, is some of the fear. Now, as I've said before, with personal reasons, I'm not skeptical of the virus. Virus is real, okay? I'm skeptical of some of the things we're doing in the reaction. But the concern I have is, pre-virus, I could get up and say, I don't feel good today. Because in life, some days you just don't feel good. I could sneeze 2 times, and it's because, the cherry blossoms are in bloom, okay?
30,000 droplets with each sneeze.
200 miles an hour.
200 miles
I
an
got
hour.
it. I got it. But what I'm saying about that is, I have been told by people, I don't want to tell people I don't feel good, and that bothers me because we've talked about that. This virus out here has nothing to do with, but it should not change our health care, and that's very concerning to me. Is that word getting out? Is it getting better?
I don't think it's getting better, and I'm glad you brought that up. People are delaying health care, and it has knock-on effects. They're not monitoring their diabetes. They're not making sure their cholesterol is controlled. They're not mitigating these things that they're at risk for. One of the things I can stress to the public is know for your age and your situation and your family what the things are that are likely to take you out, and work on those. And that's a personal relationship you have with your primary care doctor. Identify the things that are likely to kill you, and what can you do about it.
Now, he just said 700 and something odd people per 100,000 are going to die each year, and only about 10 of them are going to be COVID virus. So you got to worry about the other.
Yeah, worry about the other stuff, and we're putting it off. But one other thing you mentioned about work ethic, I think as a culture, we push through things. We go to work sick. We do a lot of things, and maybe one of the things that we'll learn a little bit differently with this, particularly respiratory illnesses, is that we probably should stay out of the public when we've got an illness. Don't try to go to work. Certainly now, don't go to work sick.
And don't be a hero.
Don't be a hero there. And the one other final thing about it, I think you're hinting on, is how the culture may have changed. I have this little pet theory, and there's absolutely no science to this whatsoever. But I have this theory that for every 1,000 births, there are 12 tyrants born. And we're seeing those tyrants right now. They're all showing their asses.
Well, and I'm very serious about this. A couple days ago, it is Friday, so I say Wednesday. Just pick Wednesday. I didn't feel well. Okay, but I take a couple medications that have that warning that says may cause dizziness. One, and second, the biscuits, the gravy, and the bacon. No, I'm being serious. Are just things that. Sometimes I don't have a good afternoon and know I should have done it right. But
it's a risk you're willing to take.
It's a risk I'm willing to take, but the serious side of that is I'm now saying I don't feel well, but I'm okay. Because I know why I don't feel well, but I'm afraid some people are not telling people they don't feel well or not going to the doctor. And I tell you, that is the big takeaway for me every Friday, is the concern that people are not taking care of their health care.
If you don't feel well and you're coughing, sneezing, or have a temperature, stay home. If you don't feel well because you stayed up too late or had too much single malt scotch, get up and go to work.
Thank you. Final word. We got 30 seconds. You got 30 seconds.
I haven't told jokes for a couple of weeks now.
Let's do it.
Couple woke up, the husband looks over at his wife and he said, honey, one thing about this quarantine I can say is that at least I'm quarantined with somebody I like. His wife looks at him and says, well, at least one of us can say that.
I got it. Wait a minute.
The only thing I'm going to say is that Ray continues to talk about the fine china. And I don't want people to stop thinking about the fine china. I'm a lot more worried about the healthy grandmother who has no major comorbid conditions, is 25 or 30 pounds overweight, but is 75 years old. And she's at major risk, even if she's not diabetic and doesn't have chronic lung disease. So stay away from grandmother.
Folks, as I promised, promise made, promise kept. I think this is the best discussion. We cover a little bit of everything. We go all the way around the subject of coronavirus, COVID-19, and bring you information. You can share this with your family and friends. You go to our YouTube channel, Fetch Your News, FYN TV. Look for the playlist, Ask the Doc, share these with your family and friends. Also, if you have a question, okay, you send it to info@fetchyournews.com, info. Put in the subject line, Ask the Doc. Send us the question, all right? Find us on social media, and also we want to thank Georgia Cancer Research up here in North Georgia. Great people. Northside Hospital for sponsoring the segment. We can't thank you enough, because without you, we would not be able to bring this great information, and it is. Guys, as always, thank you so much for answering the questions and being here and helping especially our local area get through this. Send me questions throughout the week. It doesn't matter what it is. I'll get it to both of the doctors and get you some answers. I'm Monday through Friday. This doesn't have to be the only time we discuss this. We're going to take a brief break, and then we're going to look at the political side of things with our all-star political panel. Thank both of you very much.
I'm Jeff Riblett, President of Asset Protection Group. As a certified financial planner and with 20 years experience, I've helped thousands of families and business owners create a tremendous amount of wealth. Fortunately, most of that wealth has been protected. Don't allow an unforeseen life event, such as a nursing home stay or the next market meltdown, destroy your family's wealth. Be smart. Call me. Let's determine how best to protect your assets and preserve your wealth.
Ace is your helpful place for paint and home goods, tools, outdoor living, and lawn equipment. But did you know Ace Hardware of Blue Ridge is a little bit more? We have hunting rifles and accessories for your next hunting trip. We have Amish furniture imported directly from Ohio. And we have Ace Custom Woodworks for all your custom wood project needs, from cabinets to artwork. Ace Hardware of Blue Ridge. We have your new house in stock.
Circuit World has complete queen bedroom packages at amazing prices. Get this queen bed, dresser and mirror, one nightstand, bedding set, and free 32-inch TV, all for only $1799.99 or $129.99 a month. Or get this complete queen bedroom set and sleep in style, also for only $1799.99 or $129.99 a month. What an incredible deal! Stop in today at one of our 5 locations and get the furniture you've always wanted at Circuit World.
It's been 4 generations of family ownership, tens of thousands of customers, and more Chevys than we'd ever be able to count. And more than 60 years later, when we say Days gets it done, we still mean it. With the North Georgia Mountains lowest Chevy prices, a huge selection, and outstanding customer care. See Days Chevrolet in Jasper, and let's get it done. Days Chevrolet. Days gets it done. Find new roads.
North Georgia Diamond is your source for diamonds in North Georgia.
Hello, my name is Chad Watkins. I'm the manager at Larry's Body Shop. We are a family-owned and operated business and have been serving the North Georgia area since 1978. We are located at 1216 Progress Road in LOJ, Georgia. Our shop specializes in collision repair and we work with all major insurance companies. Larry's Body Shop is ICAR Gold, the highest role of training recognized by the collision repair industry. It is estimated that only 10% of collision shops meet these standards. Our shop consists of state-of-the-art equipment such as laser measurement system, down-drive spray booth, spot and MIG welding equipment. All of our paints are mixed on site so that we can guarantee your paint to match every time. I know that having an accident can be a stressful event. We take pride in making sure our customers are satisfied with the repair of their vehicles. Our waiting area is clean and comfortable with free Wi-Fi and refreshing beverages. So if you're in an accident, stop by and see us at Larry's Body Shop.
Do you feel like healthcare has become too impersonal?
3 times an hour, I'll get you in, I'll get you out.
At Lifetime Medical Center, you're more than a number. We get to know you, not just your medical issues. Dr. Alana Kent is board certified in family practice and offers same-day appointments. She and her staff treat conditions from minor to chronic issues. Lifetime Medical Center, convenient to Jasper and Blue Ridge.
This may sting a little.
Hi, I'm Rhonda the Mattress Lady, and this is my husband Gary, owners of Mattress Overstocked in LJ next to Walmart. And we want to earn your business. From the time you walk in our door to the time we deliver your new mattress to your door, you will see the difference. Our selection and prices are the best in North Georgia, and customer service is our top priority. So y'all come on in and let us help you find the right mattress at the right price. That's Mattress Overstocked in LJ next to Walmart.
North Georgia Diamond is your source for diamonds in North Georgia.
In 1981, Reed Nicholson began selling tires out of an old barn in Mineral Bluff. Little did he know that he had just laid the groundwork for the most trusted names in automotive services in the Blue Ridge area. In 1997, Nicholson Tire Center became what it is today, holding the same values of faith, family, and great customer service. 2 locations to serve you, and the Blue Ridge location is currently expanding to offer fast service and the largest U-Haul provider in Georgia. Nicholson Tire Center, Blue Ridge, and Mineral Bluff.
Hey, folks, we're back. I'm your host, BKP. We're at Circuit World here in Blue Ridge. Let me do the test really quick. There's 5 locations. So the way I do the test is I go up the highway. So I start in Ellijay, down there, Circuit World, Blue Ridge, Blairsville, Murphy, and Franklin. I got all 5. Circuit World here in Blue Ridge. And we're glad to be back. The plate, Rick.
Yes, sir.
Before we start, all these boxes are sold. This place is to the roof right now, from microwaves to refrigerators.
Bruce, tell them what you called it.
I like to refer to it as Stonehenge.
It looks like Stonehenge in here. There's so many things standing on end.
It is time for the All-Star Political. I feel like, with this mic and with this mic here, and what is the guy? Old Gene? What was it? Was it
Gene
Hulkman or whatever?
Gene.
No, that did the wrestling.
Oh,
you know who I'm talking
yeah.
about now?
Mean Gene.
It is time. It is time. You've waited all week. You set your DVRs. You got up early because it's time for the All-Star Political Panel. And our first question is, Jane, we know you're traveling, but both of you yesterday, when General Flynn, when the DOJ, Department of Justice, dropped the investigation
at 2:31 in the afternoon, you mean?
How many of you were like, and Jane's not going to get to say anything about it? And Grassley comes out and says there will be prosecutions, and Jane, I'm sorry, is like one of those days. Let's start with that. General Flynn, they dropped the case yesterday afternoon. Bruce, what say you?
Well, Bill Barr's taking a lot of grief for it. I mean, from the other side, as expected. But, if you just spread the facts out on the table, and you see, I mean, it was a setup, and I think it was the right thing for him to do.
What say you, Rick?
What was interesting is you go back to some of the Wall Street Journal editorials back in 2017. And they were saying at that time that one of the only solid, what they referred to as felonies that they could come up with at that time was General Flynn and the unmasking. And, we knew this how long ago? I mean, it was so obvious that it was that he was set up.
When it happened.
Yeah, when it happened, we knew it was set up. Yeah. Why does it take this long to go through all these machinations?
Well, because, I mean, think of Schiff, all along. I've got credible evidence, I mean, it's the old Democratic playbook. You repeat an untruth or a lie long enough, and people start to accept it as the truth.
And you come back to the other side, Schiff, Nadler, and even Chris Matthews is coming on and saying, but he still lied to the FBI. Well, really? Didn't he lie to the FBI because they were going to hang his son out to dry?
Yeah,
and wouldn't you do that for your child?
Entrapment, and he's sitting in a room, and I'm going to tell you, I feel like this. He's sitting in a room, and he says, if I say this, now this is my opinion, Rick, and tell me if I'm off. If I say this, will you leave Michael Jr. alone? What's the possibility of that, Rick?
Yeah, I mean, that's pretty much the way it came down.
Right, they were going after Michael Jr.
Yeah.
And the FBI knows if you want to get something, go after the family, right? What say you, Bruce?
Yeah, I think it's fairly obvious. You start getting close to home and touching people you love. I mean, what are you going to do? Exactly what he did.
There's conversation out there now about that when Obama went and talked to Trump about the things that, make him nervous. One of the things that made him nervous, he said, stay away from Flynn. And
set up.
Yeah.
But we know the reason.
We know the reason
knew
why.
The internals. Yeah. He knew
where the bodies were buried.
I'll tell you, isn't that what Grassley said last night? Is that what Grassley or
Well, he was on the Dana Perino show, I think. On the daily briefing.
Grassley said that I think it was Chuck Grassley said Flynn knew where the bodies were buried.
He did.
And
He
that was one of the
absolutely
things.
did.
Let me go into this, okay? So
keep in mind, Samantha Powers was the one that unmasked him too. Now she defers, and she said the underlings were just using her name. But the deep state, the Obama administration, was unmasking so many people in 16 and 17 that had ties to the Trump future administration and administration. They were doing that at a rate of one a day.
the president said the Obama Justice Department multiple times. Okay, to me saying this goes to the top. Everybody that's going to the cameras says this goes to the top. Okay, I don't have anything in front of me, but we know about the January 5th meeting, right? January 5th, they're in the Oval Office. I think it's Obama, James Comey. Now the President of the United States is not sworn in yet. Inauguration is the 20th or something.
Right.
So they're coming up, and they're coming up with a plan.
That was the meeting, I believe, where he
Right,
told them,
right.
don't trust Flynn.
Right.
He's toxic.
No, not Trump. This is the meeting where Susan Rice, Comey,
yes,
Comey's in there,
Sally
Susan
Yates.
Rice, Sally Yates, Obama, whatever.
Yeah.
There's several in there. I think Brennan's in there, and I think Clapper. I'm not 100, but this is the meeting. The next day, James Comey goes to Trump Tower, right? To meet, to let Trump know there's a dossier out there, and then I think BuzzFeed drops it the 10th of January. But anyhow, the point I'm getting at is when they called for a special counsel, everyone that knew that at that time, all the information to call for a special counsel was baseless. They called for it anyway. Then Robert Mueller shows up. He should have reported back on day 5. We'll give him 5 days. Folks, there's not even anything to start this.
Let me
Go
throw
ahead.
one thing in the,
No, go ahead.
in the chain. Don't forget that that's when the Attorney General, Beauregard Sessions, was pressured to recuse himself so that Rosenstein could be in charge of appointing
exactly
the general
right.
counsel or the special counsel.
Rosenstein got shifted right over in the slot at the appropriate time.
I think that's a really important step in there, though, that they made sure that they could put their deep state guy in there.
Do you think Mueller knew this going in to his role as special counsel? He was part of it, or do you think he just played dumb when he found out?
I don't think he was playing dumb. I think, my opinion. I know you were looking.
No,
at
go
Brian.
ahead. No, go ahead.
My opinion was they were looking for a figurehead with credibility, and they
Point well taken. Because remember when Mueller came up, he was. You can't approach this guy this way. I mean, he's liked on the left. He's liked on the right.
Bulletproof.
Rick is hit.
Esteemed military background.
Right. All of the above, and then he was nowhere, which was evidenced in the hearing when he.
Yeah, it was hands off.
I mean, he didn't know anything about what was going on.
Yeah.
It was
And he
Weiss.
brought on Paul. What was his name? That attorney that is. Is it Wiseman?
Well, Weissman was the one.
He was the lead.
Weissman
Right.
was the one that was running everything
Right.
in there. He was the bulldog in there.
Right.
He was on the meat wagon.
Yeah.
So to answer your question, Rick's 100% right. I think I'm one of those. I think they all knew. I think Rosenstein knew the day. Okay.
Jane would agree with you.
Right? No, I think he knew the day he was moved into place. He should have been the one to come out and say to the American people, I can't in good faith spend your money and get this started. Where does it go from here? Because something I heard yesterday from Grassley. Grassley got a little shaky yesterday afternoon on there with Brett Baer because he had anger. I mean, I was able to watch him with Brett Baer, and I was thinking, whoa, Chuck Grassley is angry. Now, let me tell you what he said, and he's one of them guys that's been in the swamp up there for 60 years. But something he said that was interesting. Trump, your president plays chess, folks. He doesn't play checkers. Richard Grinnell, comes in
And he goes yesterday, gets in the SUV, and he walks in and he says, "You release them, or I will." Right?
He's the acting intelligence director.
You release him, Richard Grinnell, acting intelligence. Remember, he has no experience. He's this, he's that, but he can't do the job. Grassley said yesterday, without him and his nerve, and he did something that he has not seen anybody do. Remember, Rick?
Well, he used to complain because he would ask for the same things, and it would take so long for the redaction process, and they were just slow walking everything. But this was bingo, bango.
And he tells Schiff, he goes in, he says, "You release them, or I will."
Yep.
So you make a decision. So what say you on what's being released? What are you hearing that came out last night? Schiff says he still lied. Well, Adam, you lied too, more than once.
They're going to keep singing the party line. That's the danger. I mean, as much as Grassley was trembling with emotion, I mean, actually getting any of these deadbeats in front of a judge and getting them, a judgment against them.
I think it's big to the American people.
Well, yeah, but I mean, we've been talking about this for 3 years, and it's just kind of slow walking.
What say you, Rick?
I truly believe that there's going to be some kind of prosecution.
Finally, hopefully.
I mean, there's so many pieces of damning evidence out there, especially some of the things that Comey said. Some of the things that Comey said in some of these interviews that he did, trying to sell a book and trying to act like a big shot.
I did it because I could.
Yeah. I wouldn't have done this in a normal administration, but I had the opportunity because they were in disarray. Yeah, I took my shot. I sent two guys in there, sent 2 guys to the White House, excuse me, to do an interview with Flynn with the sole purpose of taking him out.
I can't quote it. I watched the interview. Did you watch the interview with William Barr?
Which one?
Last night, supposedly on CBS or whatever.
No.
And I don't want to get it wrong, but Barr's asked, and I think it's Brennan, the lady that does Face the Nation, Margaret Brennan, on Sunday. She said something to him in the reference of, did you do this based on political? Okay, something in that vein. Was this a political? And he said, no. This is about the law. I can't quite, but he says, no, I did this based on law. I know it's a novel thought, but the law is, and he says the law is we don't entrap Americans. The law is we don't set them up, right?
That's what people are that their mindset is such that they're so used to being everything done in the name of politics that when somebody comes along who is a straight shooter and does it because that's the rule of law, they're like, what is this deal? They can't understand it.
It's the law.
It's the law.
Exactly. Prosecutions. Now, he did say, Grassley said, I didn't hear Barr say this, that it could delay a little bit Durham's indictments coming down based on there's a lot of new information. He says there's a lot of new evidence. Grassley called it evidence that may broaden the scope of Durham's investigation. What say you guys?
I think that's probably likely, and to me, that's a good thing. I mean, it's just going to carry it deeper into the summer. It's going to get it closer to both of the conventions. So I think from a strategy point of view or a benefit point of view, if you will, I think that's good. People
need to keep in mind that what John Durham is doing out there is he's not gathering information to write a report. He's in the middle of a criminal investigation.
Yes, all you got to do is Google it. John Durham. He's in criminal investigation.
Criminal investigation.
Indictments will come.
Yes.
Yeah. And that's that's important for. This isn't a Mueller report. This is a criminal investigation.
He started out in a review, I'll just say a review kind of capacity when he started out. And if you go online, you'll see he actually switched it to criminal. Right, he made an official announcement. It is now a criminal.
There's enough information here.
That's what I was getting ready to say. Right. He had seen enough information, so he was generally asked. Barr asked him, review the origins. Right? Barr said we got to look at the origins, how this happened. Guess what? We got origins now, do we not? Yeah. Hey, we're looking at the origins. I mean, Barr came out and told the American people, I think it's worthy. It should never happen to an American president. Now, the one thing that gets me, among others, I threw one on there, but among many things that get me, I'll phrase it that way.
Let me pick one.
Let me pick one, right? But you got to take Donald J. Trump's name out of it, folks. And you just have to. It's not whether you like Donald J. Trump or not. You have to insert President of the United States. And this needs to never happen again to the President of the United States. Agree, Rick?
Regardless of who it is, like
Exactly.
you said, yeah. It shouldn't happen to a decorated general.
Exactly.
It shouldn't happen to the President of the United States. I mean, the deep state has been exposed in my mind.
But going back to the earlier points about prosecution and getting it done, I mean, you're going to hear this drumbeat from Schiff, the media, and all them, but he still broke the law. And they're just going to pound on that, you know? And so I think that's going to be the drumbeat that you're going to have to face every day. Flynn still broke the law. He's still a criminal. And, you know, we can't go forward with any prosecutions based on this development.
Okay, well, we'll just throw out altered 302s. No, we don't
There
have
you
a
go.
lot of time.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Altered 302s.
Yeah, let's go with that.
And FISA warrants signed by Sally Yates, by Jim
Exactly.
Comey, by
all of them knowing.
Rod Rosenstein.
Right. So you do the research on what a altered 302, an FBI agent has to do a report from an interview. They altered 302s to keep this going, did they not, Rick?
Yes, sir.
They had an end. I want to go here.
Will there be a fall person for that then? Will there be some lower level lackey that like takes the heat for all the time?
Oh, let me do my impression. Down the hall. Larry, you still down there at the very end cubicle? Larry, come up here. We want to talk to you. We think you should retire, Larry. We got something we're going to set you up nice with. As soon as you only got to do 2 years, Larry. Sorry.
We'll make it worth your while.
Why's it got to be Larry, right? And the guy, but do you think it'll be do you think, Rick, because people like Grassley and others that are out there, Collins and others, do you think they will go to the top with this? They're talking about it. They always say it was at the top.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm just going to keep throwing the name Samantha Powers out there for a while, because there's all of a sudden a lot of spotlight on the unmasking lady. And she was, keep in mind, I mean, she really didn't have the authority to unmask those people in her capacity as
but nonetheless, yeah, she was UN
ambassador, right?
Yeah.
So,
All right, let's switch this over just a little bit here.
Comey and Sally Yates are the ones that I'd like to see go down, because I think they were dirty, and I think they committed treasonous acts.
Right. Paul Manafort's in prison, by the way. Just throw that out there.
That's right.
By the way, Paul's in prison.
Yeah.
And Roger Stone has not had...
And oh, by the way, Seth Rich is still dead.
Roger Stone's in prison. Seth Rich is still dead. And Roger Stone has not had his tattoo of Nixon on his back removed. Moving right along.
Or his day in court yet.
Or his day in court. I'll throw that out there. How impressed are you with William Barr, the Attorney General? Where are you at with him?
I am very impressed. I think, he brought previous experience to the position. I think he's doing a job that obviously is attracting a lot of emotion and a lot of confusing statements from the opposition. I think, that's an example of how good he's doing.
What say you, Rick? How do you feel about Attorney General Barr?
Well, I mean, I've said it before. You guys know where I stand on this. I didn't know much about William Barr, and Jane was a little bit nervous about him.
Yes.
And she now has come around, and, I relied on someone that had firsthand information about Barr, and that's a friend of mine here in town who used to be chief of police.
I remember this comment.
And he was head of the U.S. Chiefs Association. Chiefs of Police Association, if that's the correct way to say it. And he hired William Barr to come in and speak to their group. And he got to know him pretty well, and he still communicates with him on occasion. And he's told me, he said, you watch this guy, he is by the book, he's rule of law, and he doesn't have any allegiance to anybody. You know, he basically told Trump, you need to keep out of this. Don't muck it up for me is exactly what he said.
I like
on some of the investigation that he was doing.
I like that he's done things in a methodical, step by step. He doesn't let anybody get.
There was
him
no
wrong.
rush to judgment by Barr.
No, yeah, he goes through everything, and then when the guy speaks, it's just solid. I mean, Barr doesn't say a whole lot, but when he speaks, it's solid. He felt the campaign was spied on. Period. Was it spied? Yeah, it was spied on.
Yeah.
Okay.
Period.
So,
End of debate.
I gained a lot of respect from him when he had to testify in front of one of the bodies of Congress. He had to testify in front of them, and you know, people would ask him a question. He said, "I'm not going to comment on that." You know.
Well, okay, shift, and we don't want to go down that road. I think he's very nervous. I think there needs to be, not Russian collusion. There needs to be the deep state bureaucracy collusion that tried to remove our president of the United States that was duly elected by the people, and they need to go to prison. Will Joe Biden be the nominee, Bruce?
Here we go.
You keep
again.
putting me on the spot.
I got to do. Wait a minute. Let me back.
Presumptively,
Biden nominee, Bruce. Go.
Presumptively, yes.
Presumptive.
Presumptive.
You
yeah.
left yourself an out.
Absolutely.
Rick, Joe Biden the nominee.
I got to just give you a little funny comment that I was listening to Trump on the way over, who was calling in on the Fox and Friends show. And they asked him about that. They asked him about Biden being the presumptive nominee. He said, yeah, Sleepy Joe, they say he's still locked up in a basement somewhere. We like him to speak. We'd like him to come out and speak. And they asked him if he would send over a test kit so that he could be tested and come out. And he said, I'd send one over in a heartbeat. We need him talking to the American people.
Getting his message out.
Getting his message out. I mean,
I like the cartoon that he's sitting there. He's in cartoon, and his wife's Jill, right?
Yeah.
Dr. Jill.
Sitting there next to him, and he says, when I'm in the Waffle House, and she's saying, White House, White House. The little joke. But, okay, so Rush and I have this little thing going on. He just doesn't know it. Rush says he will not be the nominee. I have not jumped off that bandwagon. I still feel that Joe could be the nominee. Rush doesn't think
But as the days and weeks go by, I mean, as you get closer to the convention or the election, I mean, how can you just drop somebody else in there and go,
well,
he's a better candidate or she's a better candidate? I mean,
you can if the presumed candidate says, I'm sick. If somebody walks in, now let me just tell you this, and I feel this for a fact, which fact means you know it for a fact. So I should say it any way other than that, but I know this for a fact. I feel
this isn't hearsay.
No, I feel good about this statement. Nancy Pelosi pulled Clyburn in before Super Tuesday in South Carolina and said, you get down there and you make sure you support him and you get him the win in South Carolina. And then somebody, maybe of Pelosi's strength, had enough strength to say, Buttigieg, all of you other, get out. So
yeah, your chance will come later.
Right. So is Nancy said, and here's my takeaway. Nancy says she fully endorses Biden, right? Remember the other day? So I guess I don't know if he'll be the nominee. Tara Reid, internal polling says this is hurting this guy. This is hurting this guy bad with his base. Sanders supporter and Me Too that whisper, hey, this is hurting us, but we're going to stay back in the shadows. What say you, Rick?
Tara Reid has put him in a box.
Yes.
I mean, he's getting pressure from the left and he's getting pressure from the right. Now, the Me Too crowd, the Hollywood crowd, the women that want to become, the next president, they're all standing behind him and saying, well, they're getting a lot of pressure because of the double standard that they're putting out there. because of the Kavanaugh thing, and I think the Republicans need to keep beating that horse.
Yeah, but I think that the diehard Democratic women, are the, the base of that party, they're going to go with Biden no matter what.
Do you see? Yeah, you're thinking that? Okay, I get it too, because that also leads me to say that the American people need to pay attention. Now, in the past, they try to make a big issue over your vice presidential running mate.
Yeah.
But history shows that the American people don't vote for the running mate. They vote for the president, okay?
Right.
This is one time with Biden, okay? You better pay attention to the running mate because that's who will be president of the United States,
Right.
in my opinion.
Yep.
Right?
Agreed.
Is it the 25th?
Potentially.
Is it the 25th Amendment? Is it? Do I have that right? Is that the one they tried on Trump early on to say, right? The 25th Amendment. They will come in and tell Biden, and I feel good about this. You got to go home, sir, or we got to start this process because you don't even know
what time it is.
Yeah, and that being said.
Does he get to hear the chilling words, though? If you don't, Hillary's going to visit you.
Yeah, that's right.
Hillary's waiting down the hall on the right.
Yeah.
She says she's
Want
here.
the blue pill or the red pill?
Yeah, she says she's here for a meeting. Just saying. I said this week on the show. Now that we're throwing this out, and I can't go because if I forget it. Do you find it interesting? Now I know the people are going to say, "Well, he was so far out in West Texas." Do you find it interesting that Antonin Scalia was well and enjoying dinner with the hunting group the night before? No way, I'm going somewhere with this, right?
We know where you're going.
He was feeling well the night before, went off to bed. Next thing you know,
until that pillow fell on his
head.
Hey, you can have an asthma attack anywhere.
Pillow
Come
fell
on.
on his head, and the next morning he is no longer Supreme Court Justice Antonin Scalia. Now, my point is,
and 20 hours later, his body had been cremated.
Okay, now wait a minute. Now, the thing that's interesting to me, do you not find it interesting that no matter what happens, they can get Ruth Buzzy Ginsburg's ass to a hospital ASAP to keep her alive? Now, I'm just saying. Why am I the bad guy here? I mean, Rick, quit looking away like you want to social distance and be away from. Quit looking away.
I'm looking over at Destiny because we're both laughing.
No, I'm serious. Do you not find
She's not laughing behind that mask.
Do you not find it interesting they can always get her to the hospital on time? Always, no matter what.
Well, they probably have like a medical corpsman or something like half a step behind her.
Well, they couldn't get my man Scalia there.
Well,
and he felt good the day before.
Anyway,
what say you? I just had to think of it. Okay, not Tara. Let's move on because I want to talk about. Is it Sheila Luther? Is that her name?
Shelley
Luther. Okay. Just jump in, Rick. Talk about what happened, what's going on, and she, to me, is the small business hero of America. To me, she is the poster emblem of small business America. To me, she's my hero right now.
I mean, you got the main story of what she did, which is cool, but you think about some of the other stuff surrounding it. You think about them taking and putting a business owner in a hotspot in jail.
Yes.
Which is a hotspot for the coronavirus.
Yep.
Anybody else that does anything's not going to jail.
But they're letting murderers and rapists out of jail.
Right.
But they put in a legitimate business owner in jail. What is that deal?
Well, I mean, the worst sentence would have been, go spend some time in a nursing home. But anyway.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, you've got a lot of law enforcement out there that are saying that they're not going to enforce this stuff.
It brings home the whole absurdity of this quarantine thing. I mean, it just brings it home that, you keep the sick and the vulnerable. Those are the people you make stay at home and do the stuff. Everybody else should be out there doing their thing.
Let me push this to a different. That I always like
Despite
to go,
what the doctor said.
No, I like to go to what's not being reported. Now, I don't know this. I'll look at the camera for a fact. I'm going to give you this, but I want to go to what's not being reported because if you watch the town hall, and let me finish this before we get in. If you watched the town hall with Trump the other night with Martha McCowan and Pumpkinhead, that was for Rick, nobody else.
You're
Rick,
so bad.
That's for Rick. That's Rick. I'm pointing right over here. You can look away all he wants. Anyhow, but one of them was a small business owner in Florida that makes grips for golf clubs. Because of the way
a husband and wife.
Their business, a husband and wife, and I have used that. You've heard me talk about North Georgia husband and wife that clean cabins. Or same thing, okay?
Yep.
So they said they make grips, and because of the way they file their taxes, they're not eligible for paycheck protection. So let me look in the camera and say what I think is happening in Texas. Now, in salons, right, they rent spaces.
They're all independent contractors.
Right. So if you come in, so if you're the salon owner and you put 9 spaces in and you're the owner, somebody comes in, they say, here's my license to do this. What is my space rent, right, Rick?
Yes.
And a lot of times when you go see a salon, we'll call it that, with 9 people in there, those 9 people, they charge you $20, 3 goes to the house, okay, or something, right, Rick?
Yeah.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
But that's how it works. So when she looked at her 10 people in a big metro area,
she said she had 19.
19. Okay,
19
we'll go
stylists.
with that. Don't confuse me with the math. I always try to stay in 10.
I'm just saying.
It was she had 19.
It was a big shop.
So when she has 19 in there, and she has to look at them and say, tomorrow we got to lock that door, okay? Then what happens is the 19 don't go file unemployment. They can't. They file independent, so they're not eligible for the Paycheck Protection Program, correct?
And she's not eligible for the small business to pay them.
She can't. She can't get.
Let me interrupt. The stuff is flying out the door. You got to get to Circuit World before this place is empty. Get it while the getting's good, man. I'm sorry.
Did I give you the address where that couch needs to go? So here's what's taking place. Now you got 19 people. They can't go get an unemployment. She cannot file for paycheck protection for them because they're not employees.
And the whole reason this happened, it was just a throwing a bone to the medical groups so they wouldn't have, bad pictures outside hospitals. That's as stupid as it is.
Right. And here's the thing. She looks at the judge and just going off, and he says basically, if I let you go, are you going back there? Yep, going right back there. After me telling you I'll put you in jail? Yes. Your Honor, comes to going to jail, feeding my kids, I'm going to go feed my kids.
I mean, when you hear the story that she told on Hannity last night, she said, I was getting calls from several of my hairstylists saying, well, we got to pay our bills. What are we going to do? Should we go underground?
She said her mortgage is 2 months behind.
2 months behind. And she said, no, don't go underground. That's not safe. I can provide a controlled environment. Right. I can sanitize, and we can do this in an orderly fashion.
You guys are separated in your stations.
That's right.
You only have the people come in that have an appointment, and that's it.
But I got my hair cut the first day that the governor said that we could put the bowling team back together and we could get our hair cut.
Right.
So what did I do? I put my bowling shirt on and I went to the barber shop, and by appointment only, they're all wearing masks. Everybody was social distant, and there was a lady out front of the barber shop asking questions. Who have you been around? Have you had and she was a nurse. That's the common sense that we're not acknowledging out there.
Well, I think when we talk about that out there, what took place in Texas, and give a shout out to Governor Greg Abbott for the executive order that retroactively went back to April, to where she will not see any of this on her permanent record.
Yeah, and the lieutenant governor and the
days
AG.
she spent in the slammer.
Yep.
And the second thing
and
I like,
paying the $7,000 fine.
Right. And the second thing I like is not Juan Williams. I don't like him. But the second thing I like is when Juan Williams tried to frame it yesterday for Greg Gutfeld, and he said, "Nice try,
nice try,
a Republican
Juan.
governor. Nice try." Listen, this is in a very blue city. So
Dallas.
Right?
Yep.
We love law enforcement. We do. We support you. But I'm going to tell you, if you're in these areas, please, and it comes down to putting cuffs on somebody, look and say, no, not me, man. Not me. You're going to find somebody else.
You got to love that statement that law enforcement came out with yesterday and said, a law must apply equally to all. That's the only thing that makes a law legal.
Exactly.
It must be applied equally to all.
Final words, Bruce. Air balls, jump shots.
Air balls that we already touched on are Shelley Luther. I think, she, became kind of the beacon for a lot of people in this country, fed up with some of these rules and regulations. So she's my home run air ball winner. My air ball is the dirty dozen, as I call them. And you could even do a dirty baker's dozen with one extra, but we're talking Comey, Brennan,
bagels.
Clapper, McCabe, Stroke, Page, Weissman, Rosenstein, Ray, Rice, Powers, and Lynch, Loretta Lynch, and we can throw in Mueller as the baker's dozen. Dirty dozen.
I like that. I'm waiting for the movies myself. I'm waiting for those Saturday afternoon movies. They did all the President's Men, right? Let's see some good movies. Rick,
yeah.
Losers, winners.
My two winners are both females. Sidney Powell. Sidney Powell is my hero. She was the one that defended Flynn.
Oh, Sidney Powell. Yes.
Sidney Powell.
Lawyer.
Yeah, very, very well spoken, and I mean, just really, really on point and a brilliant lady. My other winner is going to be Ruth Bader Ginsburg, RBG. She came off the deathbed in one of her final decisions as a Supreme Court judge. She just ripped the Ninth Circuit and their ruling about illegal immigration. She just ripped, and she wrote the
And you need a good rip.
Yeah, those are my two winners. My loser is the judge in Texas, Judge Eric Moy. And if you do some homework on Judge Eric Moy, this isn't his first controversy. He has got controversy after controversy in some of his rulings. He's a Harvard black Democrat lawyer, judge down in Texas.
Elected or appointed?
He was elected.
Okay.
All right. So do some homework on this guy, and you'll see why he's my loser of the week.
Well, first of all, I've noticed, if you have not, when you're kids and you went to the doctor and you got the Highlights magazine, you were trying to find the 12 things wrong. It's the rest of my life now. I do that everything. I look around. What's missing? Why is the shoe in the tree? Anyhow, moving.
That's right. Remember the Highlight magazine?
All right, stop. That was not something to get you going.
Why are the beads on the wire?
All right. Have you noticed Rick brought a clipboard?
Yeah, that's right.
Wow. I mean, I'm the only one without a clipboard. Oh, my God. Look, let me say this. Jane, I hope all is well. We missed you because there was a lot of things I was waiting to hear your opinion on. Sidney Powell, let me say this. You go back to Enron, okay? Go all the way back to the Enron. Sidney Powell, look her up. Take the time. It's worth it. Now, there's a website she has. It's called Creeps on a Mission. And about all of those people, look here, Bruce, about all those people you named are on that
Creeps
website.
on a Mission.
CreepsOnAmission.com. Go, I very seldom go buy her books. You will be amazed. Go to her website, and yes, big shout out for America. Thank you, Sidney Powell, for going the distance and knowing that General Flynn needed to be the charges needed to be dropped. Let me go with that. Second, we got to figure something out. Now, a funeral in South Georgia is probably the start across this country that created absurd rules on funerals, having 10, social distancing, and we do understand that from a funeral there that it's spread. We got it. But folks, there's two things that have to happen in this country, among others. It's time to let people go in a hospital and see their loved ones. Now, if you can go in with a mask, goggles, mask, gown, gloves, booties, your mom, your dad, your husband, your wife can get suited up the same way and go stand next to your hospital bed. It has to stop, okay? And I'm not just talking COVID-19 and the wards where they have closed off for, concern. I'm talking about people that are car accidents, people that have brain, a mass on their brain. You can look that up. I know you might know which one I'm talking about. Husbands and wives, it has to stop now. Let our people in to be with their loved ones. And when it's time for a funeral, let us take the chances. Quarantine us afterwards, give us some rules, but I'm going to tell you it's got to stop in America. By the way, if you want me to close my business, I have a price. Call me. It's BR549. I'll tell you how much I want, and then you can have the damn keys and I'll close. Sorry. Pet of the week right after this.
Hello, my name is Chad Watkins. I'm the manager at Larry's Body Shop. We are a family-owned and operated business and have been serving the North Georgia area since 1978. We are located at 1216 Progress Road in LOJ, Georgia. Our shop specializes in collision repair and we work with all major insurance companies. Larry's Body Shop is ICAR Gold, the highest role of training recognized by the collision repair industry. It is estimated that only 10% of collision shops meet these standards. Our shop consists of state-of-the-art equipment such as laser measurement system, down-drive spray booth, spot and MIG welding equipment. All of our paints are mixed on site so that we can guarantee your paint to match every time. I know that having an accident can be a stressful event. We take pride in making sure our customers are satisfied with the repair of their vehicles. Our waiting area is clean and comfortable with free Wi-Fi and refreshing beverages. So if you're in an accident, stop by and see us at Larry's Body Shop.
Do you feel like healthcare has become too impersonal?
3 times an hour, I'll get you in, I'll get you out.
At Lifetime Medical Center, you're more than a number. We get to know you, not just your medical issues. Dr. Alana Kent is board certified in family practice and offers same-day appointments. She and her staff treat conditions from minor to chronic issues. Lifetime Medical Center, convenient to Jasper and Blue Ridge.
This may sting a little.
Hi, I'm Rhonda the Mattress Lady, and this is my husband Gary, owners of Mattress Overstocked in LJ next to Walmart. And we want to earn your business. From the time you walk in our door to the time we deliver your new mattress to your door, you will see the difference. Our selection and prices are the best in North Georgia, and customer service is our top priority. So y'all come on in and let us help you find the right mattress at the right price. That's Mattress Overstocked in LJ next to Walmart.
North Georgia Diamond is your source for diamonds in North Georgia.
In 1981, Reed Nicholson began selling tires out of an old barn in Mineral Bluff. Little did he know that he had just laid the groundwork for the most trusted names in automotive services in the Blue Ridge area. In 1997, Nicholson Tire Center became what it is today, holding the same values of faith, family, and great customer service. 2 locations to serve you, and the Blue Ridge location is currently expanding to offer fast service and the largest U-Haul provider in Georgia. Nicholson Tire Center, Blue Ridge, and Mineral Bluff.
As Georgia opens back up, it's time to come back to Days Chevrolet in Jasper with huge savings on the North Georgia Mountain's biggest selection of pre-owned vehicles. All makes, all models, all with low miles and a super low price. Or buy new and get 0% financing for 84 months on every single Silverado 1500 or Equinox at Days Chevrolet in Jasper. Days Chevrolet. Days gets it done. Find new roads.
And we're back. No, this is not a cat.
Oh yeah, I'm sorry. I didn't have a cat to bring today.
I just want the audience to
I
know,
yeah.
it's not me.
It's my fault.
I did not call in the middle of the week and say, don't bring a cat.
No, it was
right?
my fault. I forgot to call Brian and tell him I don't have a cat yet that's ready, a kitten that's ready to bring. And some of the other cats are too nervous to be in to go into the crate and then come here and take them out of the crate, put them back in the crate, and then take them back. So rather than stress out a cat, I brought Checkers. This is Checkers. And
Checkers, you're beautiful. What do you want? You want the treat or you want the cow? Which sit there?
As you can see, Checkers sits very nice for the toy, for the treat.
Good Checkers.
He does need some training. He's only 10 months old. He's still a puppy. He's doing very well with the sit, and they're working on stay. He has had all of his shots. He has been neutered, and he is ready to be adopted. You can see he's a big dog, just a puppy. He has not had an accident in his kennel, which is as close to what we can say that he's housebroken. So if he's staying overnight, for 12 hours in a kennel and he doesn't have an accident, that's a pretty good indication. However, sometimes when new dogs get to a new home, they may, out of nervousness, they may have an accident. You just have to be patient and give them it usually takes 3 to 6 months for them to get adjusted. Checkers, I don't think is going to take that long because he loves everybody. He loves everything. He is a sweet dog. I would say kids would probably be good because I know you're always asking about kids, even though you never listen to me.
What?
Get that one. Good boy.
I listen.
Kids would probably be good, but he doesn't know his strength yet because he is a puppy, so you have to be very careful and watch him.
I do the kid test while you're on there. I act like a kid.
Oh, okay.
So
I'm not paying attention.
No, so they would see you be good with kids. That's me.
Yeah. Oh, that's true. He probably would be very good with other dogs. He's very interested in the dogs that we have to be with them. So a meet and greet would be great with other dogs. Definitely with the kids. Like I said, he doesn't know his own strength, so he's so excited out on the field that he can literally plow the kid over. You have to watch him.
Yeah.
But that's just some training is all. He didn't even try to get up on the couch, which is a good indication.
You get up here and sit. You want this treat? Sit up here. Get up here now.
Well, he's laying down. Give it to
Sit.
him laying
Oh,
down. You're so mean.
I'm not.
Say, lay down, and then give him the treat.
He's already laying. Lay down. There you go. Who's the check? Come here. Come here. Come here. Come here.
But he's a beautiful dog.
Come here.
You probably can't
There
see
you
it on the camera, but he has these little,
Sit.
leopard spots.
Sit,
Do you
sit,
see that
sit,
on his body?
Sit. Oh, who the baby? Who the baby?
Do you see it on
Who
his
the
body?
baby?
Are you listening
Who's
to
the
me?
baby? No, I like the stuff.
Do you see the spots
Who's
on
the
his
baby?
body? The leopard spots?
Sure, I see the spots. That's what you wanted to hear. Yes.
No, see? Look at all
I
this-
get it.
He has beautiful coat. He's very soft, very loving, ready to go. Come on out and meet Checkers at the Humane Society of Blue Ridge. Do call to make an appointment.
Give me the cow.
At 706-632-4357. Oh, look at those ears. And make an appointment to come out and see Checkers or any of the other animals that are out there, the cats that are
Say please.
adoptable.
Say please.
And go on our website, Humane Society of Blue Ridge.org,
Who the baby?
and
Who
you
the
can
baby?
see a lot of the animals
Who
on
the
there.
baby?
Follow
Who's
us
the
on
baby?
Facebook.
Who's the baby? Who's the baby? Is you the baby? Yes,
And
you're
watch
the
Brian.
baby. What? I like this dog.
He is. He's cool, isn't he?
You know what?
He's so laid back.
I'm
But he's still
going to make a statement,
Okay.
and I want an answer from you.
Okay.
All these years, have you brought the first dog in here that doesn't love me? I mean,
Oh,
what?
no, not at all.
Absolutely.
You want to take him home?
I'm thinking about it. I love all the pooches.
Yeah, it's sassafras.
Yes, I love all the pooches.
Yeah.
I love all the pooches.
He loves toys and treats, so training would
Wave your
be
paws in
easy
the air.
for Checkers.
Wave your paws.
Because
like you
he's
just
going
don't
to be treat-oriented and toy-oriented in order for his training or to, for him
Here,
to
Checkers.
learn all of the things that you want him to learn. But he's really a good dog.
He's a
sweet,
great
and I
dog.
just met him today. I hadn't been to the shelter.
So you may have told people this, but in wrapping up, what kind of breed do you think?
We have him down as a lab mix. But again, that's guessing. We're not sure of, we're never sure of the breeds. We think that
He has a great nature. I
Yeah,
do.
he
I
does.
like to play with the dogs. We have companion dogs that come in here, going to be perfect to sit right by your side while you watch TV and take a walk with you. We have dogs at the Humane Society of Blue Ridge that they have out there, great for the young kids, older kids. We have dogs that sometimes mix with other dogs for the meet and greet. So we try to cover everything here. And what I really like to do when the dogs come in is I like to play with them and enjoy them just so you can see at home what great animals and what great forever pets these would make.
Right.
So
he rode very well in the truck. And every person he sees, he wants to meet. His tail's wagging. And
but he hasn't gone in the kennel, and like you said, you know, I've had dogs when they come home, they're a little nervous, the new place, so
I don't
you
see
can't
that,
pass judgment on that.
Right. Oh yeah. Right. But he's just the lover.
Right. And
you come take Checkers, and he's just going to probably blend right into your house.
folks, let's find Checkers Forever Home today. Okay. So Rena has given you all the information. It is the Humane Society of Blue Ridge.org. Humane Society of Blue Ridge.org, and also their Facebook page, Humane Society of Blue Ridge. Cats, kittens, sometimes puppies, dogs. Call them. Their hours of operation obviously changed a little bit, and you have to get an appointment. But you're open, right? You guys are open?
I do not believe so.
Not like open, but if you have an appointment.
Yeah. Call for the appointment, and you're welcome. Yeah, you're welcome to come
So all
in.
of a sudden, you're the one not listening.
This is true. I wasn't
Okay.
quite sure what you were. Yeah, you're right. I wasn't.
There you go.
I was thinking how I'm going to have to clean up this mess. The little toys coming apart.
You know what? My dog's determined to kill the squeaker. So they're not going to stop.
He's
So
definitely working. Yeah, this is the toy.
Let's find Checkers his forever home today. I'm your host, BKP. It's been a beautiful 2 hours here at Circuit World in Blue Ridge. I will be back Monday morning at 8 a.m., fyntv.com. Don't forget, we have our app, and you would never miss anything we're broadcasting. If you want to share these with your friends, you go to fyntv.com. We have all the Pet of the Week up there. You can also find it on our YouTube channel. Share Checkers and many others with your friends. I don't know what you're doing this day. I have to work today. Darn, it's Friday. We should be able to get off early. Just saying. Monday morning, 8 a.m. we'll be back. Rena, thank you and each and every one out there, and always bringing us a beautiful pooch on Friday. Destiny, I think it's time to go home.